how was your how was your week?
Well, was a good week. I finished The Last of Us 2,
Yay.
and I worked. I pretty much worked all the other days. But on top of that, I got some good news.
Oh,
Courtney got accepted into the nursing
oh
program.
yay. That's awesome,
So
dude.
yeah, she's making really good progress now, and I'm proud of her.
Oh, that's sweet.
But yeah, The Last of Us 2 was completed. And of course, as you know, Ghost of Tsushima comes out this Friday.
Yeah.
So like I finished it right around the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
But like how I feel about it is like okay. So I feel like of course the game looks great.
Oh yeah. The gameplay's
It
fine.
plays yeah, the gameplay is great as well. But I don't know how I feel about this story.
Yeah,
Like
there we go.
I really don't know how I feel about this story. Like at first I was all cool with Ellie going for the revenge. Like I was like, yeah, F those people, they killed Joel or whatever. But to like see I guess the extent at which
The
they
progression
try
of it.
to yeah, like the progression of this revenge cycle was just not as appealing as I thought it was going to be.
Hmm.
Like I guess what really throws me off is how after such an extensive amount of time has passed that she's still obsessing over this issue the same way that Abby was, which is the other character that you play as.
Yeah.
And honestly, Abby was I mean, she was a complete B, she was a complete B word.
Uh-huh.
And it's very prominent. Like a lot of, one of the characters that she's known for a while even calls her out on that. She's like, "You're a terrible person. I don't ever want you around me again." And I was like, "Thank you. Someone feels the same way that I feel." But Ellie was different at the time. Like she still had that caring feelings for her friends and their well-being. Like she was willing to return back home with Dina when she found out that she had the kid
Yeah.
and so forth. Sorry, spoilers for those
Oh
of you
no.
who haven't
I
actually
mean,
played the game yet.
at this point, it's been what, like almost a month,
Yeah, almost a month. But
and by the time this
sorry
goes
for-
up, it'll still have probably been like a good old time. So it don't matter.
yeah, but so, I was like, okay, see, that's what makes Ellie better than Abby. Like she was willing to turn back, she was going to forsake the sake of revenge to make sure that her friend was safe, the child was led to safety, whatever, yada yada yada. But then when you get towards the end of the game, have you guys have not gotten the revenge, right? You guys let that path go
Hmm.
because it turned into a royal fail. Jesse ends up getting killed,
Yeah.
and but you guys go ahead, you guys go and live your life, right? And I'm like, okay, if the game ends here, I'm fine. You, she's happy, she's got the kid now.
It
with
doesn't have to be a
Dina, they're
completely
living-
happy ending.
Exactly. But then Tommy shows up, and I'm just like, no, let's not do this. Let's not. And then you find out, like, what really got me, and I'm glad that it ended, I guess, on a somewhat not as grim note, I guess you can say.
Hmm.
Because, obviously Ellie pursues the revenge anyway. She leaves Dina, and we find out that Abby has been pretty much in a prison camp for months.
Yeah.
And it gets to this point where she's like, "I'm still going to try and kill you." Like an already half-dead Abby. And I'm just like, no, there's no satisfaction in this. This is terrible. Like, what satisfaction would I possibly get out of an already half-dead human? And so at this point,
It's like fighting the person who wronged you in the past, but now they're a cripple. You're like, you're suffering enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point that I got to at that. I was like, yo, you're pretty much just kicking, and I feel like this is a very accurate term because there are a lot of dogs in the game, but you're just kicking a down dog at this point. Like, what satisfaction could you possibly get out of this at this point in time? And you know, that's pretty much how I felt. And like I said, I'm glad that in the end she doesn't kill Abby, but I guess to see that route be pursued so ferociously,
fervently and all that,
is, yeah, like, it's just not appealing. I feel like like I said, I'm glad that she turns away and she lets Abby go with Lev and whatever, and then she goes back home. But like at that point, she's lost pretty much everything. Dina's gone. She even lost her fingers, so she can't play the guitar anymore. Like,
which I feel like is the worst thing ever.
Exactly.
Something you love
like
to do, you can't do no more.
Yeah, you know, the one other remaining thing that she has from Joel, and she lost it for the sake of revenge. So, you know, I feel like, obviously I get where they were going with that narrative, is like, you know, even if you were to take that revenge route, like, you could still lose way more than you already lost in the beginning. And I get that note, but I can't say that I like that path that we had to take, because I mean, if this was an option choosing game, like where you had to choose the actions made in certain scenarios, I'm all for it. Like, because obviously then it would be my choice, but I was forced into that role and I didn't like it.
Okay,
you know?
so I want to stop you right there. So remember my biggest complaint for Last of Us 1 was like, I would never have done what Joel did? Where I was like,
yes.
No, I would have literally been like, nah, Ellie can go. That's fine. And everyone I've ever talked to was just like, but that's the point in it. It's not your choice, it's Joel's. And everyone on this is like, I would never have chosen what this happened. And I was like, yeah, now you know how I feel. It's not good, is it?
Exactly.
It sucks.
Exactly.
But like,
it 100% sucks.
Also, I want to bring up something also you brought up that's actually pretty interesting. Your whole thing is you think that the idea of the revenge is kind of like, it's oh dang it, no! It's kind of yes it is. It's weird. Am I alive? I'm alive?
Wait, what?
Kill me!
No.
What in the world? Game? Like, when they finished Last of Us 1, they were approached with like, okay, is there any chance of like a sequel for it?
Yeah. Help me.
And they were like, nah. Oh, dang, that is it. Oh. They were like, at this moment, no, because like anything we do we want to have a good story and everything. And they're like, well, is there any chance that we'd like see a revenge plot because of what Joel did? And they're like, or not a revenge plot. It was whoever Joel had wronged in that town, like he owed money or whatever to the person.
Yeah.
They were like, they were asking, was there a chance of a game focusing on that? And they were like, well, and they were like, here's the thing. Revenge is all cool and dandy for what it is, but for us here, we don't think it makes a lot of sense for someone to go on a revenge quest that takes them like halfway across the country. Because no revenge is honestly worth that in this world.
Exactly.
And I was like, so when they came out with this game, I was like, okay, so they must have figured out a story. And it turned out it was just like, revenge. And I was like, eh. So
well, I guess they wanted people to see what they were talking about.
Yeah, but I'm just like, it didn't give a satisfying story. And it's weird knowing that they knew it wasn't going to give a satisfying story. Or they at one point understood it wasn't. I'm like, eh.
Well, I guess from that, what I would take is, it's one of those scenarios where it's like the people don't know what they want. So they give us what we thought we wanted, and then when we realize, yeah, this wasn't it, you can't blame us because we asked for it, No,
I feel
I guess you can't blame them.
I think
we asked for
it's more that and this is something that it's not all the time, but it's like,
there, look at that.
It's not that we don't know what we want, it's that they don't know what. I don't know if this is what you said. What did you say? Hold up.
I said, us as players, like, we don't really know what we want.
Oh no, I know what I want.
They
Forget
give
that.
it to us.
They give us what they think we want, and then it's up to us to decide if we like it or not, and then it's up to them to decide how they're gonna take it. That's the process. I know what I want. It might be a trash idea, but I know what I want.
Well, that's what we got, right? We wanted a revenge plot. We wanted to see a potential revenge plot. We got it, and we thought it was a trash idea.
No one wanted a revenge plot. That was my whole thing. Like, everyone was just like, all right, guys. Honestly, I think a majority of people would have been like, please leave those two people alone and go somewhere else in the country. You have the whole entire country, the whole entire world to talk about this stuff. Why just them? Thanks.
But yeah, that's how I feel about the story overall.
Like
I enjoyed the game, of course.
Oh yeah, gameplay's great. It looks beautiful. Like, it's just gorgeous.
But I don't like the extent to which we go is just like wow.
Yeah, and I'm not really a big fan of The Last of Us, and you know this. And I'm like, but I can appreciate what it does right. And then when I saw what it was doing wrong, I was like, nah, man, I'm not for this. But if people enjoy it, I'm not gonna be mad at it.
No, not at all.
Like, that's not gonna help me at all. Stop focusing on me. Leave me alone. Help.
My friend Blaze, he really enjoyed the game.
Really?
He thought, yeah, he enjoyed everything about the game.
Yeah.
And even the story for it. And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna see for myself. I usually tend to side with him on those things, but as I got, like I said, as I got towards the end of the game, and I'm just kind of experiencing all of this, I'm just like, I'm not for this anymore. Like
halfway through, you were like, I'm tired.
Yeah, halfway through, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, we're going a little too far. Like, I think when the moment where I was pretty much cut off, or as far as like, okay, now it's time to let this revenge thing go, is actually when Abby kills Jesse. At that point,
you're like, is it even worth it?
Yeah, because when you right after that scene, they fall into the basement of the amphitheater, and she literally damn near beats me to death and Dina, and the only reason she doesn't kill Dina is because Lev stops her, because she was going to kill Dina simply because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, all right, look, end it right here. No more revenge. Like, you guys have lost pretty much everyone.
At that point, I was like, what is the plan? What is the literal plan going forward after, like, you've decided that baby murder is almost okay?
Yeah. But like I said, we already knew that Abby was a B word. So that was expected from Abby. I expected that from Abby, but at the same time, they introduced Lev and Yara as a redemption phase for Abby, because she realized that she was such a terrible person, and that having Lev and Yara around would clear her conscience. So that's the route. That's why she stayed with them. And I respected that, because she realized, okay, I've done some terrible things, like beyond terrible things, okay? I don't want to be this person anymore. And I respected that. But I feel like the phase was happening so fast that it was unrealistic. And so, because I mean, at this point in time,
there's really no downtime in that game, honestly.
None at all. And at this point in time, we have to take into consideration that she chased Joel for years. For years, just because her father was murdered. Her entire friend list was just murdered in the matter of a couple of days. And she just suddenly decides that she's not going to murder everyone for that sake. And I'm just like, that's so unrealistic for her, for a character of her dynamic. That's so unrealistic for the sake of just meeting an individual literally a day earlier, because that's when she met Lev and Yara. She had just met them a day or two earlier, and so it's just like, there's no way she wouldn't have killed Dina, despite Lev being right there, if it wasn't for the sake that they were trying to push, like, hey, she's trying to be better.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the amount of time in between all of these incidents, there's just no way that she still wouldn't have made this decision, even though she had some pretty much a stranger still in front of her. So, like I said, overall, the game is still solid gameplay, solid visuals.
But it's not the Last of Us 2 you wanted.
Exactly, it is not the Last of Us 2 that I wanted. Like, I feel very
Conflicted.
I don't know. I feel very exactly conflicted
Yeah.
about how this played out.
And I was like, and that was my whole time process. Like, I'd read the leaks because I was like, I have no real interest in the game. It's whatever. And it was like, it got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I have friends that I know love this game. They may not love this anymore.
Like I said, I still think it's a great game,
But the story is what drew a lot of. The story is what you tell people they should all focus on for the first one, and you can't do that for this one because you know it's going to be divisive. It's
yeah.
And I don't.
It was tough, man.
Hmm?
I said it was tough trying to get through that. Like I said, in the first half, I'm all for it. I'm like, yeah, kill these fuckers. Like, actually, I was asked by a coworker of mine. He asked me what my what I thought the most intense scene was, or like touching scene was, and there's a scene that I said. Now it wasn't. I told him this isn't necessarily like about touching, but the scene that got to me the most at the point in the game that I was at is when Ellie has to torture.
All right.
Are you gonna be able to get out of that?
Yes. Continue, my pet. Melia, no! Get yourself over here, you. Oh.
She's gonna have to teleport.
Yeah.
But
my bad.
So there's a point where Ellie is trying to find Abby, and we go to pretty much the last person that we can locate to get the information on it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, this character, I forget her name. I think it's I don't want to say the wrong name, but basically she's the medic for the group. Not Mel, because Mel is also the other medic, but she's running away from Ellie. She runs down into this infected area where there's a lot of spores, and thinking that Ellie won't chase her.
Yeah.
And of course, we know Ellie's immune, so Ellie just goes in head first, no problems.
Yep.
But it gets to we finally corner her, and she's, saying like, hey, tell me where to find Abby. And she's like, I'm gonna die anyway, so which makes you think that I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
And so we then proceed to bash her with a pipe. And at this point, I'm like torn. Because I'm like, yes, eat her ass. Get that information, right?
Yeah.
But then afterwards, the cutscene when she arrives back at the amphitheater with everybody else, she's just terrified. She's shaking, like she can't concentrate, she can't focus. There's blood all over her.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, like we actually did this.
Oh, this is our fault.
And so, yeah, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I can see that this was, like, at this point for Ellie, she was contemplating, is this revenge worth what I just did? Like, the actions that I just had to make to get this information has altered her, and she's not sure how to process whether it was justified or not anymore. And that scene right there, that was the scene that impacted me the most. As far as like, okay, hold on, like, is it worth losing yourself for this process? And so that was the most impactful scene for me. A lot of people were talking about a flashback that happened between Joel and Ellie when they go to the the museum. They go to the museum, and it was a really nice flashback, really touching flashback, and it was really good. But for me, that wasn't the most impactful because I already knew that Joel and Ellie had a touching connection that was very difficult, because we know that Ellie finds out the truth at some point later in time.
Oh yeah.
And so for me, that was just like oh yeah, remember the good times with Joel. That wasn't really all that touching or impactful anymore so than I expected. But that scene that scene that happens down on that infected area really got to me, because at this point in time we had never had to do anything like that.
Yeah.
We were pretty much just following Tommy, and we saw all the things that Tommy did, and we were expecting that of Tommy at this point. But at this point, we had never seen Ellie literally have to torture somebody, which they don't show the torture, but the results of said torture. Exactly. And that's what really got me, because that's when this transition to, okay, hold on now. Like, this is getting pretty. This is no longer just the kill everybody type, you know, deal. Now we're crossing into some boundaries that loses, you know, where you lose your character.
Yeah.
And so that was the most like impactful scene for me.
Shulk, is that?
Spear ones. Loads and loads of spear mechon.
I love how Zord just becomes like, oh, it's a constant enemy now.
It's Fiora.
Okay, this fight always gives me trouble, so I gotta remember what I had to do for it. What was the problem with this fight? There was always an issue.
I've never seen this fight. You can't be asking me.
I know, I'm trying to think for myself. Like, I think it makes me focus on fighting a person, and I'm not appreciative of it at all. So, I'm gonna say, kill these people first, please. But yeah, I mean, that does suck when you get a game that was coming from the first one that's not as, like, impactful, I guess, as the source that you had before.
Right.
Like, would you rate it lower than Last of Us 2?
I don't think I would rate it lower.
But not that much lower. Like, would it be a point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if Last of Us was like, what was Last of Us 2, like a 9 or a 10?
Yeah, pretty much like a 9.
Okay, so this would be an 8. That sounds fair.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like I said, they maintained great gameplay,
Looks
great
beautiful.
visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, the only thing was, like, I guess, and really, you have to just kind of determine what type of individual you are, because, you know, a lot of people may not see these actions as crossing the line or something that is to be frowned upon, because they feel that, you know, for the sake of revenge of a loved one, no bars hold, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no holding back. So it may not be as difficult to see those types of actions for other individuals, but I guess for me, knowing the kind of individual that Joel wanted Ellie to be, and all the things that he tried to do for her, to see her just kind of like throwing it away in that aspect was just like hard for me to digest. And like I said, that's why I was reluctant that she lets Abby go in the end, despite having the opportunity to kill her, because she could have drowned her in the final fight, but she had a flashback of Joel and she let her go. She was like, just leave. But then at that point, she returns home to nothing, you know?
Yeah. Look at Shulk. But, yeah. Yeah, it is good. That's what it is. It's a very divisive game. I don't know how to feel about it.
I think so.
Yeah.
What do we do now, Shulk?
Like,
We ain't gonna
not
last
gonna lie,
long
most of
here.
my stuff comes from, like,
Fiora,
I played one
try and remember.
after all the stuff happened. When we tried to play it, I just ended up playing it.
Without the power of
And it
that
was like,
sword,
eh, forget it.
I doubt
Um,
you would ever have made it this far.
It's like when I said the leaks and I was like, oh, I don't like this anymore.
No.
People are gonna be divided. Because of the same things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Activate.
Man.
What did you say? Apocrypha?
Yeah, your mech has a cool name. And it looks cool. And it's...
Powerful. Holy crap.
Yep.
Did it just shut my Monado down? Like, hey guys, this ain't the one.
Okay, Shulk, wait here.
Forget your visions. There is only me as the future. Look at this man going.
Man's a beast right now,
Mhm.
huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Fiora! Stop this right now. How could
I'm
you?
your brother. Listen to
Shulk
me.
came here to save you.
How dare you?
Do you hear me? Fiora!
You must run.
Fiora! Fiora! Or whoever you are.
Please, run. The machine is not under my control.
Not under your control. Is it him?
Most surprising. I admit I never expected such resistance to becoming a fate.
Egil,
Fiora! What have you done to her?
From the moment of their creation, all Mechon are mine to control. Should a passenger defy me, I force it to obey.
Why make Homs into Mechon? Why are you making them attack Bionis?
If you wish to know, you have only to submit yourself to me. All will become clear when you attack Bionis with a new body born of Mechonis.
Never! Who would ever submit to you? Forget about him. We have to get out of here. But what about Fiora? If we die here today, she will be lost forever.
Choose. I have rendered the Monado useless. You have no hope of victory or escape.
False. I just have to believe.
Scrap! It was you who did that to the Monado!
The Monado is a tool that regulates the waves of the very ether from which the world is formed. Therefore, it can be counteracted simply by releasing opposing waves.
But how can you?
The questions end here. Hand over the Monado.
This man answers questions like it's like a no-duh thing. Like, listen,
Never!
stop acting like we
If the
stupid.
Monado really is powerless, then why would you want it for yourself? I will never give it to you. Never!
That's the most rational answer to something when you're at your, like, rope's end ever.
Right.
Like, how dare I give you something when you act like it don't work? Why would you want it? Get out.
Egil.
Alright, everybody. My weapon don't work, so... Or does it?
Gold
Is it working
face.
now? Yeah, it's working. I can't use any of the Monado stuff for it, though. So, like, y'all deal with that. Alright. I'm gonna inflict weaknesses on him. Oh, not working.
Oh, not working.
I'll heal people. Mainly me.
Mainly me.
Fight Goldface dude, because fighting her's not gonna do anything for us. Ah, dang it, we're focusing. Everybody focus on this one. There we go. He's getting some little... Oh boy, I have done the wrong.
I have done the wrong.
Uh-oh.
What did you do?
1 second. Yeah! Toppled! Take that! I thought it was about to end the match because he did that big old wave, and I was like, ah. Oh, he got up real quick! Hold up! Please don't look. I am dying.